Lifelong dedication. Good way to put in perspective what we're talking about next. The Losers Car Club is a bunch of characters that have come together and really enjoy being with each other, but also enjoying the preservation of cars, enjoying working on their own stuff, and in Don Holly's case, making his own street rod that kind of looks like nobody else's. It's all fun. And let's welcome three men from the Losers Car Club, Phil, Tom, and Gary. Guys, welcome to the Racing Roundup Show. Thanks for being on the program and bringing the cars out tonight.
All right, thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, we're going to start with you, Tom, because I know that there's a lot of big events over the course of the summer, a lot of little events too. I mean, you guys can get really active with what you do at Losers Car Club, one of the great car clubs in the area, very supportive of stuff at the Milwaukee Mile, very supportive of area car clubs and raising money and charity and such. But I also want to talk about the safety, Tom. We'll start there because these cars are not brand new, and they've got to be right, and they do travel, and there's a lot of miles you put on them. So how do you help make things safe for the street rod community?
Well, we have a 23-point inspection that we do. We try to keep this sport safe. It's a voluntary thing on both sides. And we check the lights and suspension parts, and a lot of these cars are home built. So we look for anything that may not be safe.
So you guys bring ramps to the various events, that kind of thing?
Yes, we have ramps. We put the cars up on the ramps, and we go underneath the car, and we check it from end to end. We also check for tires, steering and throttle linkage. It's just anything to keep the sport safe.
And the NSRA, the National Street Rod Association, I mean, they have events where you drive 500-600 miles or further to get to. So I imagine you've got a key component there saying, hey, if you're going to drive this, we've got to make sure it's safe. Is there any cost to the street rodder for you guys to look it over and inspect it and say it's now good to go?
No, not at all. We do this free of charge, and we do anybody's car. It doesn't have to be just a street rod. We do anything that comes to us, we inspect it just to make sure it's safe on the road. And
we're speaking with Tom Mitchell, who's involved with that safety aspect of it, but he also a very avid with the 1937 Ford sedan sitting right up front here. I want to know about what made you choose that car and how long have you had that car, and kind of ask the other guys similar questions about that passion coming through with the car you brought out here tonight with us.
Well, it's a 37 Ford two-door slantback sedan. This is my 29th year on the road with it. I've got 213,000 miles on it.
No way!
And we're getting ready to go to Louisville, Kentucky next week.
That's the big national event. How many cars do you expect to see there, and how many are the 37 Fords you think you'll stumble across?
Well, they kind of call them belly button cars because there's so many of them.
Okay.
But there's about 11 to 12,000 cars that show up for this event. It's the biggest one in the area.
It's a national event, so everybody comes from everywhere. The Louisville seems kind of centrally located, basically for the East Coast guys. How involved do the Losers Car Club folks get in that? Is it a personal quest? Is it something you go as a club to do?
Well, we go down there. There's probably about 15 of us that go down there, and it's just an enjoyable. It's a 4-day event, and we go down on Wednesday and come back on Sunday. But
all right. How many Mopar fans do we have in the house tonight? We've got a 35 Plymouth Coupe out there. One of the beautiful cars on display. Gary Weber's the proud owner of that. I think it's a pretty cool ride. You guys going to the Nationals with it?
No. It's not ready. I just got that car about a year and a half ago. So I got a 37 Ford, like Tom's. It's a coupe, and I got 80,000 miles on mine. And that's the one I take. It's my old reliable, I call it.
Well, give us a trilogy now. You said you might have a couple of cars to choose from. What's in your fleet of your personal collection, Gary?
Well, I got a 69 Nova, 32 Buick, 35 Plymouth, 37 Ford, and an 86 Camaro. So I got choices.
What do you let your wife drive?
Nothing.
She just gets to ride along on occasion?
Yeah.
How long have you been diehard like this? You talk about the collection and only getting a car a year and a half ago. Has it been since high school, or has it been the last 10 years when you're like, I want to get some toys?
I've been a car nut all my life, but I never could afford, cars. But the 37 Ford I've had for 37 years, and I paid $400 for it. So, it's like everybody says, oh, man, I wish I would have kept that car I had, well, I did.
Yep, and some people spend a lifetime trying to get back to their first car, and I imagine the Losers Car Club kind of has that kind of coming and going no matter where you are Gary, how many different events do you end up going to, say, in a given week or a month, or what you can schedule?
I go every night of the week.
Really?
Yes, there's a car show, cruise night every night of the week. I'm never home.
And I know you guys have a website. Losers, maybe that's why your wife never gets to go along. She's probably happy about that at certain points. But
yeah, if I'm home, she says, "Don't you have someplace to go?" I can find someplace.
now, is it all on your website, loserscarclub.com? Do you guys keep that updated with what's going on with where you are?
There's so much going on that I don't think Don can, but there's a couple other websites like Wednesday Night Classic. He does a pretty good job of listing all the cruise nights that are going on and what's going on. On the weekends are the big car shows, but during the week it's just mostly car cruises.
Well, Gary, sit pat because we're talking to Phil Barsky next. He's got a 38 Nash coupe out here, so any Nash fans, we got that represented here. It's got to be fun for you, Phil, to get to go and play with these guys whenever you can.
Oh, yeah. I've been cruising with them for about 16 years. Been going down to Louisville at least that long. It's pretty cool. I'm kind of a rare car. You don't see any of them around. It's the only one I've ever seen at Louisville.
Really?
Mine, yeah.
Wow, that says a lot.
Yeah.
What about when it comes to parts and equipment? Do you have to make your own? Do you find one supplier? How do you manage that when something goes wrong?
Something like that, you got to just about make everything for it.
Okay.
There's just no parts around for it. It's very hard to find.
So do you have a machining background or a couple of buddies you keep supplied with some beer to keep you, if you need to get something here or there, you get it done?
I've got a background in auto body repair.
Okay.
So I know how to do all the welding, all that stuff, and painting and stuff. I've done everything on that car myself.
Now, because the car was made in 1935, how many original welds are still on that baby? Are you just tweaking them all the time, or you just know it's safer to maybe get a better weld in there with your background?
Well, the stuff that we put in, we make sure it's done right when we do it.
Yep.
And the original stuff will hold up pretty good. We take all the old suspension out, put all new stuff in so they ride and handle like a brand new car.
When it comes to Losers Car Club, we're talking about 1935, 1938, but there's also Wayne was kind enough to bring out his 1947 Ford Coupe, and Keith brought his 52 Chevy truck, and Mark Goodman's got his 1978 Pinto wagon out there. Don Holly's got his 94 T-Bird. Quite a cross section. Do you guys go out and solicit folks to join the club? How does that work? Maybe we'll start with you, Phil. How it all comes together.
You'd be surprised how many losers are out there. People just seem to want to flock to you.
That's a good thing, right, Gary? Because then if you got a need, hey, I need to go run for this or run for that, they're like, I know a guy.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of guys that hang out, at car cruises, and we were actually hanging out at a car show, and Phil's wife said, after we didn't win any trophies, boy, you guys are a bunch of losers. And
is that how it came about?
And the name stuck, and we ran with it.
I was going to ask about that. So your wife is the one blaming. Now you guys got fancy hats, got fancy shirts. It's got to be a lot of fun no matter what.
It is. And our club is a little different because we don't have any officers or anything. There's no dues. You just got to kind of hang together, and that's all there is to it.
So do you guys find yourself going to the same places? Do you call each other, or is it just a matter of what you got time for? Because, you got things outside of your hobby.
That's about what it is. We just kind of hang out, and people kind of know where we hang out, and they just kind of flock together.
And I'm going to bring Tom back in here because you said you're heading to Louisville here in a little bit. When it comes to 11,000 cars, I think maybe a question others may ask is, how do you get to see it all? You got your place to park, but you want to pick a spot? Do you map it out ahead of time? And how do you approach a show that large when it's that big?
Well, it's pretty hard, but you walk till your feet fall off just about. And Louisville Exposition Center is huge. They've got about 1 million square feet of inside air-conditioned exposition area. And they do a great job. It's really something else. There's over 300 vendors that are there. And if you can't find it there, it's probably not made.
That I would think be a key component for a lot of folks saying, hey, I need to get something. And Gary's nodding his head saying, I got a 35 Plymouth Coupe. Maybe I can find somebody else that needs something I have. Or is it a good exchange network? Or is it just the vendors there that kind of just say, buy my stuff, or I don't need anything else? How's that work, Gary?
Mostly new stuff, but then they also have a swap area where you can buy used stuff. So whatever you need, you can find it.
Speaking of that, as far as let's think about Craigslist or getting messages out there electronically now. How does that change the world of hot rodding and street rodding and being around that environment? Is it a lot better? Is it quicker? Is it raising the price? How does that affect you guys as Losers Car Club members? And we'll maybe start with Phil. The question I guess I'll narrow it down to is it good that Craigslist and other things are out there to get parts you need?
Yeah, I'd say it's good because it makes it easier to find stuff.
Okay.
You don't have to just go to the swap meets. You can go on the internet and look and search, and you can come up with parts that you're looking for.
Have you ever been steered wrong by parts you got on the internet?
Well, the only difference is like when you go down to the Nationals, you can actually pick up the piece and check it out. You know, where you're going on the internet, you're just guessing. You know, you hope you get what you're looking at.
So when it comes to what you guys are going to go see, I know the EAA is this week up in Oshkosh. All different planes of all different manufacturers. Do they ever specialize at Louisville? Anything that they say, okay, this year we're going to put in a special corral, all Fords made before 1946, or anything fun like that that they kind of, the marquee that you guys key in on at a large event like Louisville?
I don't think so.
Or just everybody just shows on up and does...
There's just so many cars and so many different makes, and now they opened it up. Now it's what, Tom, 72? 72 on down?
You can go as early as late as 72 now?
30 years and older.
30 years and older.
Yeah.
It's 30 years and older, yeah.
Right, 30 years and older. So that really opened the door for a lot more cars and a lot more late model cars. So it's whatever you want, it's there.
It's a lot of fun. You can find out more about these guys at Losers Car Club. Thank you, Mark Goodman and Don Holly, for letting us spend a few minutes with these guys, because it's pretty cool knowing that these guys go to Louisville. Tom specifically is very passionate about keeping it safe for any street rider that needs to get inspected, or, hey, my brake lines, I don't know if they're good enough. He'll know exactly what you have. Losers Car Club's a great group of guys and gals, and we want to thank you for coming down and supporting our show and bringing out the cars tonight, guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and I understand it's your birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Yes, as a matter of fact, I think there's something in store when we come back from this commercial break. Let's give a hand for the Losers Car Club. Thanks for coming tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. And I just spotted my friend Bob Cole from Nashville, Tennessee, New Berlin native. Helmut, good to see you here, my friend. I'll be back in a few moments to wrap things up here on the Racing Roundup Show. Stay tuned.